Reacher is at O'Donnell's place because O'Donnell is getting his family ready to lay low for a bit. They visit Homeland Security to learn more about AM and find out he is an arms dealer. Before leaving, Reacher boldly says he'll make sure to kill them first before the law catches them. In Colorado, Dixon and Neagley pretends to be inspectors to check the Little Wing project. They discovered that New Age had just shipped out a bunch of missiles, and they learn from Foreman where the 650 number came from. When a truck breaks down, the New Age driver offers to help, but Oleg shoots him to take his truck. They hid the evidence by swapping the plates, but Dixon and Neagley arrived to find two stopped trucks. The hijackers started shooting at them while Oleg drove away, and they check if Dixon and Neagley were alive, but they were quickly taken care of by the two of them. Then Dixon and Neagley kills the last one and tells Reacher about the bad news. They also told him Swan was alive because he approved the shipments. We get a flashback when Reacher is selling heroin, but the operation goes south when a guy remembers Swan. Reacher kills the people closest to him, and Swan takes a bullet for Reacher before Reacher ends the shooter. AM tells Shane he has to pay more because Reacher's group is causing them too much problem, and Shane has a plan to take out Reacher's group. Senator Lavoie gets people to pick up Reacher, and Lavoie wants Reacher to do what he did in Margrave for the Little Wing project because it could endanger military and civilian aircrafts due to terrorism. They regroup at Kelvin's funeral to share the information they gathered. Reacher wants to know where the missiles are headed to so they can intercept it because AM will be there to exchange the money with the buyers. Reacher sees Russo talking with Mikey because he knows what Mikey is going through. Reacher finds out all the security from New Age are all former NYPD from the 3rd Precinct, and they were all dirty who had to take an early retirement due to an investigation. He also thinks Swan might be the leader who made the deals. Reacher sees a sniper and warns everyone. The gang slowly approaches the snipers using the tombstones as cover. They push up but they can't go close enough, so Reacher runs out to draw the attention while Neagley shoots down one of them and the other one escapes. Reacher chases after him but he gets away and Russo picks him up. They have a car chase and Reacher isn't happy with Russo's slow driving, so he helps by stepping on the gas. They ram the sniper into a container and Reacher gets the sniper to talk by threatening a slow death. Reacher finds out Swan paid the snipers to take out the gang. He gets the sniper to get the rest of his money and provides a layout of the building. When the sniper walks into the building, it explodes, killing him on the spot. They flee from the scene and go to a kid's playground. O'Donnell thinks Swan is responsible because everything seems to point to him. Russo tells them the bomb was meant for them and Swan was nowhere to be seen. Also, Marlowe's car was spotted near north of Manhattan. They go to check the car but no one was inside. Reacher decides to check the CCTV footage in the convenience store. Neagley noticed Jane, the daughter, playing the Nintendo Switch and wants to know her gamer tag so she can track her IP to find their location. When AM is using the washroom, an officer writes a ticket for AM. When she checks his ID, he kills her from behind. He cleans up the area and takes the recording to not leave any evidence behind. They go to Marlowe's house to find Jane's gamer tag and Neagley tries to meet her online. Reacher takes the chance to rest up and Dixon joins him for some passionate lovemaking because she had pent-up stress from all the crazy shit going down. We have a flashback when Hortense Fields tells him to shut down Operation Kite Runner because the colonel is being promoted and it would look bad for him if people found out about it. Reacher lashes out and Field threatens to discharge all of them if they continue looking into it. Dixon snaps Reacher out of his post-nut clarity because he was thinking about their last case as the 110th unit, which went to shit, and maybe this one will also turn to shit. She promises to kill Swan if necessary, and Neagley walks in on them because she got their address. Russo goes to Marsh's house to confront him on selling Reacher out to New Age. Marsh tries to justify his actions, but Russo is pissed off because of his belief and he doesn't want to see planes falling from the sky. Marlowe is staying at Chad's house for the night and the sprinkler suddenly turns on. Chad goes out to turn it off and Reacher brings him into the garage to meet Marlowe. They start questioning Marlowe for setting them up and finds out Swan was trying to stop the operation because Marlowe didn't like the security team. Swan found it odd that Little Wing chips were being flagged as defective more than usual and told Marlowe about it. Swan disappeared after trying to get the 110 unit to help him with the investigation. She also doesn't like Shane because he blackmailed her into taking bribes, so she won't look clean if they got caught, and that's why she went into hiding. Back at New Age, Shane informs Russell, the engineer, that the buyer won't pay unless he knows how to install the chips. Russell promises Shane he will teach the buyer with ease. Marlowe calls Shane to inform him that Reacher questioned her and how she lied to Reacher, so Shane sends some men to get her. Reacher gets Russo to protect Jane while they use Marlowe to bait out Shane's men so they can deal with them. Russo can't stay in his house because Marsh knows where he lives after confronting him. When Russo is backing out of his driveway, he notices someone following him and they start shooting at him. On Reacher's side, they go to the meetup location, and Reacher tells her what she needs to do. An SUV shows up with Shane inside. He sees Marlo talking with someone and he knows it's a setup. Reacher runs out to save her and they start a shootout. Everyone shoots at the SUV, and when the SUV U-turns, they get off the bus and they go on the hunt. Neely pulls up and they escape, but Reacher stays behind because he has unfinished business. Shane's men shoot at them, and he orders the men to go after Reacher instead of the others. Reacher hides, and when the SUV drives by, he shoots the tires, forcing them out of the car to battle. He goes into a bus and ambushes one of them who followed him. When Reacher is choking him, the man made enough noise for someone else to hear it. Once Reacher chokes him out, he goes into hiding to get his next victim. The next man struggles when getting choked out by Reacher and also made noise alerting another guy. The next one sees his buddy knocked out, so he doesn't go into the bus. When he steps back, Reacher drags him under the truck to take him out. Reacher calls out to Shane because he is blocked in without any escape route. He spots where Shane is hiding with the phone ring and he goes after him. A helicopter shows up to save Shane and he is able to get away from Reacher. Neely calls Russo so they can find his location to give him backup. A garbage truck gets in the way of Russo and he is forced into a dead end. He is forced to face off against 3 shooters, and before he gets into the gunfight, he gets Shane to run away. Russo takes 2 of them out, but he also received heavy injuries. When she stops to look back, one of them is right in front of her ready to shoot her. Luckily, Neely comes in clutch and hits the guy with the SUV. She runs to Russo to hold him before he dies from the gunshot wound. They go back to the motel to relocate Marlo and Jane to Buffalo because Dixon has someone she trusts over there. Reacher wants Dixon and O'Donnell to keep him safe when sending them off, while Neely and Reacher visits Marsh because Reacher knows he's dirty. They go to Marsh's place and Reacher gets Neely to stay on the lookout, while Reacher gets payback for Russo. When Marsh is packing up, Reacher surprises him and warns him not to do anything stupid. Marsh didn't know they would kill Russo, and Reacher gives him an ultimatum to either tell him everything and turn himself in or get wrecked by Reacher. He chose to fight, and Reacher smashed him into the corner to ask him where the meetup is at. Marsh doesn't know anything, and right before Reacher shoots him, he tells Reacher about Grant, who is in the hospital and might know where they are meeting up. Marsh tries to grab his gun again, and Reacher finishes the job by shooting him. We get a flashback when Reacher tells his unit about a huge deal going down tonight, and Dixon reminds Reacher about field axing the operation. Reacher gives a compelling speech to continue the operation, and he lets them decide if they want to stay for the operation. They all decide to stay for the operation, and they hit the base later that night. They detain the soldiers and start searching the Humvees, but they can't find anything. Reacher notices a plug on the spare tire and finds it loaded with a substance. The others check the spare tires and notice they all have plugs, so they arrest the soldiers. Unlucky for them, the buyers showed up and they are forced to engage in a gunfight. The soldiers attack Reacher's unit while the rest of the unit dealt with the buyer's henchmen. Reacher takes out a couple of them before taking cover while everyone else takes care of their foe. When they finish cleaning the area, Neely points out a runner. Reacher takes a Humvee to knock the man over when he was climbing the fence, and he breaks his leg on the fall. Reacher arrested him and they go back to celebrate their final victory as a unit together. Fields show up to dismiss them all from the 110 Special Investigation Unit. Once he leaves, Reacher dismisses them and they go back to celebrating. Back to the present, they go to the hospital to question Grant. Grant doesn't want to talk, so Reacher tries to blow up his balls and he starts screaming in pain. He spills the beans and tells them where the meetup is at. Before they leave, Reacher makes sure he dies without suspicion because they killed Russo. When they were leaving, they spot an assassin who was there to kill Grant. He runs away from them and they chase after him. They split up after turning the corner and the assassin attacks Neely when she walks into the room. She defends herself but gets cut when fighting him. Right before he kills Neely, Reacher unplugs the machine. Reacher beats the man and wants to question him, but he fell on the cutter, which killed him. Reacher calls Shane again and he finds out Dixon and O'Donnell was captured by them. Shane wants Reacher and Neely to be detained by his men when they are doing the deal. Reacher tells him Neely died by the assassin and he wants proof of life before he goes to surrender. Reacher calls Lavoie to get him to send backup and they go to New Age to scout the place. A couple of kids start drinking in front of New Age and argue with the security, which gave Reacher an idea. AM meets with Oleg to check the missiles and gets Oleg to take him to the engineer. Inside New Age, Lennox is torturing O'Donnell because Reacher killed his buddy and Parker stabs Dixon. Reacher goes to New Age to surrender himself and Shane brings out his friends. Neely watches Reacher get detained and she sees her friend strapped to a stretcher. Reacher is surrounded by Shane's men and he refused to get tied up. Lennox steps up but Reacher headbutts him and he starts resisting the other guards. Reacher wrecks them until Shane pulls out a gun asking about Neely because they couldn't find her body. Shane shoots O'Donnell because he can't kill Reacher until they get Neely. He starts beating Reacher and he tells them his grand plan, but Swan and Reacher messed it up. Shane brings out Swan's eye because all he needed was his fingerprints and retina to frame Swan for everything. Once he tells him the plan, he leaves to meet with AM to get his money. On the outside, Neely quickly snipes out 2 guards and calls in for backup. She sees a plane fly by and people parachuting out of it. Once Beckett, Hart, and Seaver lands, they get ready to make a grand entrance. She hears a helicopter and sees people loading Dixon and O'Donnell onto the helicopter. Neely is outside playing loud music while Reacher gets the nail from his boot to uncuff himself. Shane packs up the evidence and swears to get Neely's father to bait her out. When Beckett shuts off the power, they move in to kill whoever is in their way and Neely shoots the guard outside. During all the commotion, Reacher runs away and when he has a chance to attack, he took it, killing a couple of them. Neely shoots down 2 men when they're telling the pilot to stay put. After taking them out, Neely goes inside to help Reacher. Shane escapes to the helicopter and gets the pilot to fly away. Reacher sees him leaving, so he gets Neely to cover him while he chases after the helicopter, and Reacher is able to cling onto the wheel before it gets too high. Shane gets Parker to open the back door so they can throw them out, but Reacher climbs in to beat the living hell out of them. Shane tries to shoot Reacher, but O'Donnell got in his way, and Reacher attacks him. When Shane misfires, the pilot freaks out, destabilizing the helicopter. Right before Dixon flies out of there, Reacher saves her in time. When the helicopter stabilizes, Parker stabs Reacher, but Reacher is able to beat him, and when Parker is knocked over, he bumps into Dixon. Reacher saves her in time, but Shane starts kicking him out of annoyance. Dixon is able to free herself from the stretcher and helps Reacher take out a pesky Parker who is threatening Reacher. She frees O'Donnell and warns the pilot not to mess around. Reacher gets a hold of Shane and throws his ass out of the helicopter, just as he promised. They get the pilot to take them to where the deal is going down. AM arrives to the meetup and sees a helicopter, so he assumes Shane is already there. When they walk to the house, Neely shoots down Oleg, and they bring AM to the house to find out who the buyer is. AM tries to justify being the seller, so Reacher takes the first shot. The others follow shortly afterwards until he drops. They go to the barn to deal with Russell and the pilot, and Reacher lets them go after hearing their excuse. When they fly away on the helicopter, Reacher gets Neely to shoot down the helicopter with Project Little Wing. The missile misses at first, and it re-aims itself, taking down the helicopter. Lavoie orders his goons to take out Reacher's group because he doesn't want anybody to know about the Little Wing project. Reacher knew they would betray them, so Reacher called Omar from Homeland and they came right on time to arrest Lavoie's goons. Reacher calls Lavoie to tell him his plan failed, and Omar sends his men to arrest Lavoie. Before they leave, Omar asked about the money, but Reacher played it dumb and they went to a diner. They get Reacher to deal with the $65 million because he has no attachment to money, nor does he care about it. He blesses everyone who was a part or inadvertently a part of this mess by giving them a boatload of money to their families. They sit at a campfire for a job well done to toast to their buddies who helped in this investigation. Before they go their separate ways, they take another group photo. In the morning, Dixon gives Reacher a gift, and before she leaves him, she wants to have one last round, so they enjoy their last moments together. Neely sends Reacher off and orders him to stay in touch with them. Reacher gets on the bus and an old man asks where he's going, but Reacher has no idea where he's going. Well, that ends it for this recap of Reacher Season 2. If you got up to this point, here are some other recaps on the side. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe, and thanks for watching.